fortunate news today kind of come out with James Harden suffered a right thumb fracture. So he is left-handed, so that does help. And it's also just the tip of the thumb, so it is the distal phalanx, which is a lot better than having like kind of this middle portion of it or any of the joints of that. He was out today. They all kind of rested. Mitchell and Evan Mobley rested as well on a back to back, so that made total sense to allow it to at least heal a little bit. However, in general, a fracture is going to take 4 to 6 weeks to heal. So he's going to have to either splint it, tape it. Likely it'll be one of the two, some sort of support there, which will obviously affect his dribbling, affect kind of catching the ball, affect passing it. His shot shouldn't be too affected because the right hand's always going to just be your guide hand. And so I think it's more like the dribbling, the feel of it, because he's going to have to manage pain, right? I also think that just in general, this is the type of injury that you're trying to prevent the fracture from getting any worse, right? So he's got to have some sort of level of protection. Typically, if you fracture a finger, they're going to do a buddy tape, right? Put them both together. Thumb, you can't do that, right? It's too short, right? You gotta put those together. So that makes it a little different. So a lot of times you see more of like a splint that will just kind of keep this kind of stuck here. So it'll kind of lose that dexterity of kind of being able to bend that thumb. But it's also his opposite hand and his non-dominant hand. And I think he'll be okay with it. It'll be something that he'll just have to manage the pain.
Yeah, it's true that with the two fingers, I remember like Jason Tatum last year in the playoffs, for example, right? Hurt his finger and it being different than the thumb. A couple of things come to mind with this. I think the point that they probably that he's a new player on the Cavs and they probably want to get some more repetition with the team. I think it factors into this because the way I see it, look, like nobody wants to miss 4 weeks or especially down the stretch. But I don't know. I'm looking at I feel like they're not going to get a 1 or 2 seed, obviously, and I don't think they're going to fall into the play-in. For me, you want to get as high as of a seed as you can, but it's like 3 to 6 doesn't really matter if you're not going to have like a James Harden or a healthy James Harden. So I wonder if there was any thought like, hey, let's just shut him down for a month, right?
Yeah.
And then, I think we're going to kind of fight for a 3 to 6 regardless and have him a little healthier and not risk further injury. Because there is risk of that, right? Of it kind of further being injured or
so the risk is like a lot of fractures are like a non-displaced fracture, so that means it's just the bone is just kind of cracked, right? It hasn't really shifted too much, so the risk is just displacing it, right? So that would be something that requires surgery. So if he got hit on it again or something really got jammed, he can cause more of that fracture maybe to displace, where he would actually have to get some sort of screw put in there so he kind of keep it locked, and then you'd have to really heal on that type of thing. I think because of it being the distal part, the end of the thumb, it's not too bad, right? If it's his whole thumb or more of the bigger bone there, that becomes super painful to play with.
Gotcha.
It also just affects more the grip, gripping a ball, things like that. Be able to go like this. It's a lot harder if it's this part of the thumb versus this part. So I think that's some of the thinking with his injury, and also just and to be honest, James Harden plays through a lot.
Yeah, he knows his body. He knows himself.
Literally, not that he plays every single game, but he's almost like a Iron Man. Right? He really plays most games. Like he doesn't really take a lot of games off, and he's learned how to take care of his body throughout his career.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's we could say a lot about him. And I know with Philly, he was a couple years there. He was a little bit banged up, but like other than that, like he pretty much has been out there. Him and Russell Westbrook kind of similar, where they're going to be out there, and he probably, I'm sure he's got some advice, and he knows his body, and he knows that he's going to be able to still contribute. But it was just kind of, I was just thinking about it, like. Of course, if it was early in the season, maybe they just shut him down. But since it's crunch time and they're trying to get as high a seed as possible, they're hoping that it doesn't affect him much and that he stays healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully for the best. Hopefully it's not too bad, and he's able to
Yep.
play through and doesn't make it any worse. Because it's been cool to see him in Cleveland and how well they've been doing and adjusting to him already.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They've been playing pretty decent. I know they lost to Milwaukee tonight, obviously with
Yeah.
all the guys you said they were out, and so that's probably a tough loss because I think Milwaukee's not really trying to win a lot of games this year at this time of year. So
Yeah.